Greetings. In my forecast for 2024-25, I mentioned a certain X factor that might have appeared in 2025. What could serve as this X factor? To answer that, I have analyzed historical events of past centuries within the framework of the 60-year and 12-year cycles, and I was really astonished to discover that history always repeats itself, and there have been never ever exceptions to this cyclicity. For example, all major wars have always begun in the year of the tiger, and in the year of the snake, the purpose behind those wars became obvious. Based on such an analysis, our school has created a training course of forecasting events, truly one of a kind in the world. But let us return to history. Throughout the entire history of humanity, in my opinion, there have been 3 global projects that extended across the globe. I'm someone who believes that all modern history fits within 600 to 700 years, but that isn't the focus right now. For now, we will simply try to correctly place the dates of global events, and as I already mentioned, throughout all of human history, there have been 3 global projects. The first one is the Roman one, which has begun in the 14th, 15th centuries AD. The second is the Westphalian one, which began in 1648. The third is the American Dollar Project, which began in 1944 after the Bretton Woods Agreement. The history of the 15th, 17th centuries was artificially divided into antiquity and the Renaissance. There are not just many factors indicating this. There are very many. One of the best pieces of evidence for this are the so-called ancient Roman coins. They are found all along the trade route from Europe to India, in the Maldives, Sri Lanka, China, Japan, Russia, Africa, on the Arabian Peninsula, and most interestingly, in South America. These coins were made from American silver. French scientists found in Roman silver denarius isotopes of lead from the largest silver mine, Cerro Rico, in Bolivia. These coins are found in cultural layers of the 16th, 17th centuries. According to official history, none of this can exist. When we correctly place the chronology, it's not only the past but also the future opens before us. The Roman Empire and the Holy Roman Empire are one and the same, although in history they are separated by long periods of time. The first global Roman project is the period of the formation of the Roman Empire in the 14th, 15th centuries AD. It was marked by the wars of Caesar and Augustus against the so-called clan tribal communities of different peoples. These are the so-called Gallic Wars. In order to create a global world under the rule of Roman emperors and the Roman Catholic Church. Think about why the Pope has the pagan title Pontifex Maximus, and why in all the Catholic temples and burials there is almost no Christian symbolism. There are deities from the ancient Roman period everywhere, which absolutely should not be present in Christian churches. The so-called medieval crusades for the liberation of the Holy Sepulchre were one of the stages of the formation of the Roman Empire. And the Roman emperors who dominated over the dynasties were the Habsburgs. The German emperor was considered the highest ranking among monarchs, and above all of this stood the Pope, who controlled all monetary flows through the church. Actually, churches were the banks of the Middle Ages. The second project is the Westphalian one, which was preceded by the 30-year religious wars. And what was the cause of those wars? Compared to the bishops of the Catholic Church, European monarchical dynasties were poor. And of course, this did not suit them at all, so they thought to change this situation. With the appearance of Martin Luther, Protestantism began to develop from the word protest, a protest against the Roman Catholic Church, which ultimately led to the 30-year religious war. So the weakening of the Habsburg dynasties followed the weakening of the influence of the Roman Catholic Church as well, so as a result of which the Roman Catholic Church lost a large number of land holdings and all monarchical dynasties became equal to one another. The Habsburgs ceased to dominate and Germany was weakened after these wars. This was another redrawing of the world, and the wars during this period also lasted long, several decades. This world order lasted until World War I. The third global project is the American one. 1913 was the year of the Federal Reserve established in the United States, and as a consequence the beginning of World War I, and with the revolution of 1917, the weakening of monarchical dynasties, the Great Depression of 1921, and World War II. The world fully entered the new global project in July 1944. This took place at the Bretton Woods Conference. The redrawing of the world lasted more than 30 years before the agreement of 1944 was reached. During that period, there were many wars and conflicts all over. Now, we're entering a new global project. How it will end, very few know. We can make forecasts now, but I can say for certain that the world is entering a long period in which there will be many military conflicts, and most of them will take place in European territory. Notice that one of the most important links during the redrawing of the world system has always been Germany, which is now being weakened through the Ukrainian conflict, which may ultimately lead to Germany being drawn into military actions itself. We're on the threshold of a change of the map of Europe. European states will alter their borders. I also do not rule out an escalation of nuclear tensions in 2025. And all of these will be connected with Europe because all major military confrontations at the moment of global redivision and the establishment of a new world project have always been connected with Europe and Russia. I do not rule out that this is the X factor that I mentioned in my forecast for 24 and 25. This year, there will be the first attempts to start this. The British pushed Ukraine into the military conflict to weaken Europe, especially Germany. A similar situation has already happened, remember, in World War II, and at that time the British were pushing Germany toward war. And now history repeats itself, but with Ukraine. Ukraine lost even before it began, and I wrote about that in my forecast discussing the special military operation in 2022. If there were no peace negotiations, military actions may spread to Europe. So now we're at the threshold of the pan-European military conflict. Why was all this necessary? The weakening of Germany is needed by France and the Anglo-Saxons to strengthen their influence over Europe, and this has always been the case throughout history. The goal of the Anglo-Saxons is the weakening of China. Israel is an obstacle for England and the USA in their struggle against China with the help of the Arab world. Therefore, the Israel project will be shut down, and this will begin already in 2024, but we will clearly see in 2025. The primary goal of the USA now is China. Therefore, Europe will be weakened for the sake of full control, because countries drawn into military conflicts will become weakened. Along with this, as I have already said, Israel will cease to exist, and there will be an attempt to direct the Arab world against China. The USA, after China is weakened, will no longer be needed, and as a result, they will disintegrate. This sequence of events will unfold approximately until 2043 with varying intensity, but there is one link that can turn events into another direction. It's our country, Russia. If it doesn't turn against China, then all these events will unfold less catastrophically. For those who now doubt my forecast, everything will become clear and obvious in the year of the snake in 2025. And the main events will take place until 2029-2030. As you have already understood, nothing has changed over the last several centuries, and we can see that through the example of Roman history, the Peace of Westphalia and the World Wars I and II. Take care of yourselves. Don't forget to like, repost so that as many people as possible could learn about the future and could properly plan their lives. Please write comments, ask questions. I will do my best to answer them. Farewell.